The forgotten hero returns. The grand hall of the Intergalactic Unity Forum was filled with diplomats, soldiers, and alien nobles from across the galaxy. Flags of many worlds hung from the walls. Reporters buzzed like insects, capturing every movement and word. But one figure stood quietly among the crowd, tall in a simple black uniform with curious blue eyes. His name was Jace Carter, a human engineer sent to assist with Earth's defense tech. He didn't belong here, not really. He wasn't royal. He wasn't even famous. But he had a strange feeling inside him today, like something important was about to happen. A loud voice echoed through the chamber. "All rise for Her Royal Highness Princess Elira of House Varel." The crowd stood. Light hit the golden gates, and the doors opened. Princess Elira walked in with her royal guards behind her. She was tall, with glowing silver skin and violet eyes. Her long white dress shimmered like starlight. She moved with grace, but her eyes were searching, scanning the crowd. Then she froze. She saw him, the human, that face, that scar under his right eye. It was him, the boy who saved her. Her heart pounded. Her breath caught in her throat. She hadn't seen that face in over a decade, but she would never forget it, not after what he did. She remembered the fire, the screams. She was just a child, scared, alone. Her palace under attack, her guards slaughtered. And then from the smoke came a boy, a human boy, dirty, bleeding, but brave. He picked her up, shielded her with his body, and carried her through the burning halls. She had never told anyone. No one believed a human could have done that. But she remembered him. Every night. And now, here he was. Jace felt a strange pressure. He looked up and locked eyes with her, Elira. Their eyes held for a long second. Something stirred inside him. A strange memory, flickers of fire, a small girl crying, his hand reaching out. But it was cloudy, like a dream half remembered. Suddenly, a royal aide stepped forward. "Engineer Carter, Her Highness wishes to speak with you, alone." Jace blinked. "Me?" "Follow." He followed the aide through polished corridors until they reached a quiet balcony overlooking the Earth's horizon. The view was stunning, but Jace barely noticed. The princess stood there, hands folded, her back to him. He cleared his throat. "Your Highness?" She turned slowly. "Yes, it is you," she said softly, almost to herself. Jace frowned. "Do I know you?" Her eyes glistened. "You don't remember, do you?" "Remember what?" Elira took a step forward. 12 years ago, planet Varel. My family was attacked. Everyone thought I died. But I didn't. Because a human boy risked his life to save me. Jace's eyes widened. "I was on Varel? That's not possible. I've never—" But he stopped. His mind flashed. Smoke. Screams. A child's hand in his. "I was just a kid," he whispered. She nodded. "You were, and you vanished before anyone could find you. I searched for you. I described you. But no one believed me. They thought I imagined it." She stepped closer. "But I didn't. I never forgot you." Jace stepped back, shocked. Why would I do that? Why would I be there?" "I don't know," Elira said, "but I do know this. I owe you my life." Suddenly, a sharp beep echoed from her wristband. "Princess," a voice said urgently, "you're being watched. Return to your quarters. Now." Her expression changed. Cold, angry. She looked at Jace. "This conversation isn't over." Before he could say anything, she was gone, escorted away by her guards. Jace stood alone on the balcony. The wind blew gently, but his heart pounded like a storm. He stared out at the stars, confused. Why did he feel like something had just been unlocked inside him? Back in her chamber, Alyra stood before a mirror. She touched her chest, where a faint scar still remained, a mark from that terrible day. He doesn't remember, she whispered to herself. But I do. She looked at her reflection with burning eyes. And I won't lose him again. A royal secret. Buried in Fire Princess Alyra sat alone in her private chamber, the room silent except for the hum of the spaceship's engines. Stars floated beyond the glass window, but her mind wasn't in space. It was in the past, trapped in flames. She slowly opened a hidden drawer in her desk. Inside was a small blackened piece of cloth, burnt, torn, and decades old. Carefully she lifted it. Faded, but still there, was a tiny patch stitched with a human Earth emblem. It was all she had left of him. The boy with wild hair, wounded hands, and eyes filled with courage. 12 years ago. She was only 8, the youngest daughter of King Varel. That day, her world burned. The enemy ships rained down fire. The palace shook with explosions. Her mother screamed. Guards died trying to protect her, and she ran. Down secret tunnels, through collapsed stone, her small body covered in cuts, her lungs full of smoke, until she slipped and couldn't move. She thought she would die there, but someone did come, a boy, not one of her kind, not a soldier, a human. He didn't speak her language. But he pulled her from the rubble. He lifted her and carried her through flames. When a ceiling beam collapsed, he shielded her with his back. He bled for her. He risked his life for someone he didn't know. And then he vanished. Back in the present, Alyra touched the old cloth gently. No one had ever known. Not her father. Not her court. Not even her closest advisors. Because the truth was dangerous. Her people didn't trust humans. Some saw them as lower, primitive. Others feared them. So when she told them a human boy had saved her, they laughed. A child fantasy, they said. Impossible. Fabrication. So she stopped talking, but she never forgot. And now, after all these years, she had seen him again, Jace Carter, alive, on Earth, older, stronger, but still carrying the same scar under his eye, the same eyes, the same energy, and still, he didn't remember. Suddenly, her door chimed. Alyra quickly hid the cloth back in the drawer and stood up. "Enter," she commanded. Her personal guard, Captain Nyrek, stepped in. "Your Highness, Earth officials are requesting an audience with you tomorrow. Should I prepare your statements?" "No," she said calmly. "Tomorrow is cancelled." He blinked. "Princess?" "I have a mission now, something more important." He frowned. "Forgive me, but are you certain? The council may not approve sudden changes in the schedule." Alyra turned to him, her voice cold and steady. "Captain, 12 years ago, someone saved my life. Today I found him again. He does not remember, but I do. And if anyone tries to stop me from seeing him, they will answer to me." The captain stood still for a moment, then bowed deeply. "As you wish, Your Highness." That night, Jace lay in his room, unable to sleep. His mind raced with blurry images. Flashes of fire, a silver-haired girl crying, a hidden passage. "What is happening to me?" he whispered. He touched the scar on his face. And then, he remembered something new. Her voice. Soft, shaking. "Don't die," she had whispered. He sat up fast. This wasn't just a dream. This was real. And that meant something had been hidden from him too. But why? On the royal ship, Alyra stood before her mirror, dressed in a dark cloak. She activated a secret route out of her chamber, an old maintenance tunnel from her childhood. "I'll find the truth myself," she whispered. She wasn't just a princess tonight. She was a girl who owed her life to a forgotten hero, and she wasn't going to lose him again. The human doesn't remember, or does he? Jace Carter stared at his reflection in the mirror. His hand slowly moved to the scar under his right eye, the one he'd had since childhood. No one could ever tell him how he got it. His file said, accident. But he couldn't remember any accident. Now, after meeting Princess Elira, everything inside him felt strange. He was restless, like something was buried deep inside his mind, fighting to come out. That night, as he lay in his bunk aboard the Earth Alliance base, he had another dream. No, a memory. He was running through smoke. There was a girl, a little girl, glowing silver like moonlight, crying, hiding behind a pillar. He reached out to her. Her hand touched his, and everything exploded in fire. He woke up gasping, sweat covering his skin. His hand burned, not from heat, but from something ancient, something calling. The next morning, Jace tried to focus on his duties, but things kept going wrong. His tools didn't work properly. His hand shook while typing. His mind kept drifting. Why did her voice feel familiar? Why did his dreams match her story? And then it got worse. He found a sealed file on his datapad. No sender, no trace. Just one name. Virel. Incident level 7 redacted. He hesitated, then tapped it. The screen showed images. Broken palaces. Alien corpses. Fire. And among them, a human child, covered in ash, carrying a small alien girl. Jace's breath caught in his throat. It was him and her, together. Someone had hidden this, covered it, buried it. But why? Who wanted him to forget? At the same time, far above Earth, Elira stood before a quiet archive deep in her royal ship. She placed her palm on the scanner. Access Project Emberchild, she whispered. The system blinked. Access granted. She saw it again, the old security footage, never shown to the public, her tiny body being carried through fire. The boy shielding, her from collapsing walls, but then new footage, a medical room. Human scientists arguing, her young self screaming as they tried to take him away. No, she had yelled. Don't touch him. But they injected something into his neck. He collapsed, and then darkness. All records ended. Back on Earth, Jace visited the off-limits section of the Alliance library. Something inside him told him where to go. He found a sealed crate, cold, metallic. On the side, scratched letters, JC. Return to Virel. He opened it. Inside was a single item, a child's drawing. Faded, burnt at the edges. It showed a small silver alien girl, holding hands with a human boy. His initials were on the corner. His handwriting. His eyes widened. I drew this. Suddenly, a voice behind him. You really don't remember, do you? He turned sharply. Princess Elira stood there, cloaked, alone. He stared at her. I think I do, but it's broken, like pieces of a mirror. She stepped forward slowly. You saved me when no one else came, and then they took you away. Jace shook his head. Who did? Elira looked into his eyes. My people and yours. They didn't want a human bonded to alien royalty. You were just a child, but they feared what we shared. Jace felt cold. Bonded? She reached out, gently placing her hand over his. In my culture, if a royal child shares soul light with another being, they are forever connected. I didn't choose it, you didn't either, but it happened. He stared down at their hands, a faint glow lit up between them. Gold and silver light swirled. Slowly, softly. His heartbeat grew louder. Something old was waking inside him. Suddenly, alarms blared, red lights flashed, a voice screamed over the speakers. Warning, unauthorized breach detected, royal chambers compromised. Elira's eyes widened. They found me, she whispered. Guards were coming. She looked at Jace with urgency. There's no time. Listen to me. What they erased from your mind, it's not gone. It's just sleeping. And soon, everyone will. Know what you really are, he stepped forward. And what am I? She whispered back. You're not just a boy who saved a princess. You're the key to everything. The princess breaks royal law midnight. Earth's moon hung like a silver coin in the sky, glowing softly over the silent Alliance base. Most officers were asleep. Lights dimmed, systems in low power mode. But Princess Alira was wide awake. Wrapped in a dark cloak, she moved like a shadow through the corridors. Her royal guards had been told she was meditating. Her ship's AI was hacked to hide her location. What she was doing tonight was forbidden. No alien royal was allowed to meet a human civilian alone, especially not him. But Alira didn't care anymore. Jace sat in the empty tech hangar staring at the child's drawing he found earlier. His hand trembled. He felt like a puzzle piece that had been lost for years, finally fitting into something much bigger. And then, the hangar door opened with a soft hiss. Alira stepped inside, alone. Her cloak fell away, revealing not her royal dress, but a simple black suit made for blending in. Their eyes met. For a moment, no words were spoken. She walked to him slowly. You came here to find answers. So did I. Jace held up the drawing. I made this, didn't I? She nodded. Yes. The night before they erased your memory. Jace's throat tightened. They wiped my mind? They said it was to protect both of us, Alira said. But the truth was, they were afraid. Afraid of what we meant to each other. Afraid of the ancient laws that could be triggered by our bond. Looked confused. What laws? She took a deep breath. Long ago there was a prophecy among my people. That one day, a royal would form a true connection not with their kind but with a human. Someone whose soul light matched theirs perfectly. That bond would unlock powers, change politics, maybe even end wars. Jace laughed bitterly. That sounds like a fairy tale. She smiled sadly. I thought so too, until I met you again. Suddenly the floor vibrated. Heavy footsteps. Security bots. Alira turned to the shadows. We don't have much time. She grabbed his wrist. The moment their skin touched, a pulse of golden light flashed across both their hands. The power wasn't just real, it was waking. Whoa. Jace muttered. Did you feel that? She looked at him with fierce eyes. They'll come for us now. Not because we're dangerous, but because together we're uncontrollable. Outside, 3 royal guards received a silent alert. Princess signal located. Unauthorized movement near Tech Bay. The leader narrowed his eyes. Prepare for breach. Target the human. Inside the hangar, Alira knelt before a locked crate, hidden under the floor hatch. This is it, she whispered. They hid it from me, but I remembered this room. With a press of her palm, the crate clicked open. Inside, a glowing orb pulsed like a heartbeat. What is that? Jace asked. Looked up. Your memory. Your power. It's linked to this. It's called a soul beacon. It connects to only one person in the galaxy. She placed it in his hand. It glowed brighter. The doors burst open. Royal guards stormed in. Step away from the human. Alira stepped in front of Jace, shielding him with her body. One guard raised his weapon. She shouted, You dare point. A weapon at me? The guards hesitated, but not for long. You're disobeying royal protocol. Jace stepped forward. Don't shoot her. This isn't right. Suddenly the orb pulsed again, and then everything froze. Time, motion, even the guards. Jace and Alira looked around, stunned. What just happened? He whispered. She looked at the orb in his hand. You triggered it. Your soul recognized mine. That's not supposed to be possible anymore. Time resumed. The guards collapsed, gasping, momentarily stunned. Alarms screamed across the base. Alira grabbed Jace's hand. We have to run. As they vanished into a hidden tunnel, Alira looked back just once. She had broken every rule, disobeyed every command, lied to her own people. But she didn't regret it, because the boy she thought she lost was back, and this time She would fight the whole galaxy to protect him. Alien politics and human blood. The news broke across the galaxy within hours. Princess Elira seen escaping Alliance base with human civilian. Royal laws violated. Political storm erupts. Who is this human? And why is the Royal Council in panic? Every screen, every channel, every system buzzed with theories and fear. On the alien capital world, in the high tower of the Royal Council of Varel, 12 elders sat in silence, faces carved with worry and rage. She bonded with a human, one elder said coldly. She activated the soul beacon. Another slammed his fist on the table. That human must be eliminated, before the connection deepens. The head elder, a scarred figure known only as Vorin, narrowed his eyes. No, not yet. First we bring him in. Then we decide what to do, after we know what he remembers. Meanwhile, aboard a stolen transport ship, Jace sat across from Princess Elira, his mind spinning. They were fugitives now. He had never broken a single law in his life, and suddenly, he was wanted by alien royalty. I didn't ask for any of this, he said, voice tense. I know, Elira replied gently. Neither did I. But now, they'll come after us both. She nodded. They already are. Suddenly, a call signal blinked on the screen. Blocked source. Encrypted. High priority. Elira hesitated, then answered. The image flickered, and the face of Elder Varan appeared. His voice was slow, calm, too calm. Princess, you are in violation of our highest law, harboring a bonded human, disobeying royal security, endangering the soul protocol. She sat up straighter. Jace, Carter is not a threat. He is a mistake, Vorin cut in. A glitch in destiny. Bring him in, or we will come for him. Elira's jaw clenched. If you try to touch him, you'll have to go through me. The elder leaned closer. We expected that answer. The screen went dark. Moments later, Jace looked out the window. Dozens of small, alien ships were closing in. Fast. They're here, he whispered. Elira jumped to the console. Not warships, interceptors. They won't destroy us. They want you alive. She flipped a switch and dove the ship downward into a nearby asteroid. Belt, Jace gripped the seat, heart pounding. I'm a mechanic, not a soldier, she smiled faintly. Then it's time to upgrade. The ship rattled. Lasers flashed past. Elira guided them through narrow rock tunnels. Jace opened a side panel and started rewiring the defense grid. What are you doing? She yelled. Making us less easy to hit, he said, sweating. Give me 60 seconds. Back on Varel, the council was already preparing the next step. A secret message was sent, not to a soldier, but to a hunter, a silent assassin known only as the Regulator. Part machine, part creature. It had one job: retrieve the human, no matter the cost. Back in the asteroid belt, Jace slammed his fist on the control board. The ship shimmered, then blinked off radar. They were cloaked. Elira stared at him in shock. Where did you learn that? I don't know, he admitted. It just came to me. Her eyes widened. You're changing. The soul beacon is waking up more of your mind. Jace leaned back, breathless. So what happens next? She looked at him. Now, we go where no royal ever dared go before. To the mirror planet. He blinked. What's that? A hidden world. Sacred, dangerous, and the only place where we can unlock the full truth about who you are. At the same time on Earth, news reporters shouted headlines as alien diplomats stormed out of meetings. Riots broke out. Humans protested. Alien citizens demanded answers, and in the shadows someone whispered the question now spreading everywhere. Why is this one human so important, that the galaxy is shaking? Far from all the noise, Elira placed a hand on Jace's shoulder as the ship cruised through space. You didn't just save me as a child, she said softly. You may have saved a future none of us understand yet. The truth about the attack, the mirror planet, was unlike any other world Jace had seen. It didn't appear on any star maps. It reflected no light, completely black from space. But as their ship crossed the atmosphere, everything changed. The sky turned silver. Oceans glowed like glass. Trees shimmered like crystal mirrors. This was a place of memory and truth. Princess Elira stood beside Jace as the ship landed softly on a reflective plain. She looked nervous, for the first time since their journey began. "This is where our soul-light connection began," she said quietly. "This is where they tried to destroy it." Jace frowned. "Who are they, Elira? Who really attacked your home 12 years ago?" She looked at him, then pointed to a tall spire in the distance, half buried in the crystal ground. "We're going to find out." Inside the spire, ancient alien technology still hummed. They moved down long halls made of light and stone. As they stepped forward, mirrored walls activated glowing blue. Suddenly, images filled the air around them. Projections. Real memories. And then they saw it. 12 years ago. The royal palace of Varel flames. Explosions. But it wasn't an enemy, fleet attacking. It was Varel's own ships. The council's crest was clear on the attacker's armor. Elira gasped. "It was our own people?" Jace couldn't speak. The truth hit harder than any weapon. She stepped forward, hands trembling. "They faked the attack. They tried to kill me. Because I was bonded to you." More images appeared. A hidden lab. A young Jace, unconscious, strapped to a table. Scientists argued. This human child is bonded to the royal bloodline. If it continues, it will collapse the balance of power. Erase his memory. Use the neural inhibitor. Lock away the connection. Jace turned pale. "They erased me like a computer file." Elira clenched her fists. "They didn't just try to kill me, they erased you because they feared what we'd become together." Then came the final memory. An older man appeared. Elder Voran. "I will make sure no one remembers this event. Not even the children. The prophecy will stay buried." The memory ended. Silence filled the room. Jace stepped back, his whole body shaking, his past stolen, his purpose hidden. But now he knew. It wasn't a war. It was a cover-up. And he was the threat they tried to delete. Outside, the skies above the mirror planet darkened. Dozens of ships began to descend. At the front, the regulator. A massive black-armored figure with glowing red eyes and blades for arms. He was not just a soldier. He was the final weapon of the Royal Council. Inside the spire, Elira's wrist device blinked. Multiple ships incoming. Hostile. Jace looked out. "They found us." She turned to him. "We can't run anymore. Not now." He looked at his hands. "What can I do, Elira? I'm not a soldier." She stepped forward and placed both her hands on his chest. "You're more than a soldier. You're the forgotten flame." And then, the crystal floor beneath them lit up. A deep hum echoed through the spire. Golden light surrounded Jace. Ancient symbols lit up the walls. His eyes widened. He wasn't just bonded to her. He was chosen. The soul beacon wasn't just a relic. It was a key, and Jace was the one it was made for. Outside, the regulator landed. "Bring me the human, dead or alive." Inside, Elira stood beside Jace, her voice clear and calm. "They erased your memories, but they couldn't erase your truth." He opened his eyes and they glowed gold. "I remember now," he whispered. "I remember everything." Her declaration shook the stars. The great hall of the Galactic Concord Summit was packed. Thousands of alien leaders, generals, nobles, and reporters had gathered. Holographic cameras floated in the air. Every screen in the galaxy was tuned in. This summit was meant to settle a trade dispute. Instead, it would witness a revolution. At the center stage stood Princess Elira, calm but fierce. Her silver dress shimmered like starlight. Her eyes burned with purpose. Beside her stood Jace Carter, the human everyone was talking about. Some called him dangerous. Some called him a fraud. But none could ignore him now. Behind the scenes, royal guards and council elders watched nervously. They hadn't been able to stop her speech, not without sparking civil war, and then the room fell silent. Elira stepped forward. "I was taught to obey, to protect bloodlines, to hide truth behind golden words," she began. "But no more." She turned to the crowd. Her voice grew louder. 12 years ago I was attacked. They told you it was an enemy. They lied. It was my own council, my own bloodline. Why? Because a human boy saved me, and because our souls bonded. Gasps echoed through the hall. Whispers broke out. Elira continued. They erased his memories, hid the truth. They feared what we represented. Unity without control. Power without bloodlines. They feared love. She turned to Jace, took his hand in front of the entire galaxy. I am not ashamed of this bond. This man saved me as a child, risked his life. They tried to erase him, but he returned. She looked back at the leaders, and I choose him as my protector, my bond, my future. Shock, outrage, cheers. The crowd exploded with emotion. Alien dignitaries screamed. Others stood in applause. The Royal Council stood frozen in their private booth. Vorin whispered, "She just broke a 1,000-year law." Suddenly, a dark roar echoed outside the summit dome. The regulator, the Council's final weapon, had arrived. He broke through the roof, crashing down in the middle of the crowd. Screams. Panic. Soldiers pulled weapons. The regulator's red eyes locked onto Jace. Terminate the bonded one. But Jace didn't run. He stepped forward. His eyes began to glow, not with fear, but with golden fire. Ancient energy surged through him. Symbols from the soul beacon etched themselves across his arms. He was no longer just a human. He was something more. As the regulator charged, Jace raised his hand. A wall of light blasted out, slamming the monster back through the wall. The audience fell silent. Jace stood tall, calm. You tried to erase me, but you failed. Elira stepped beside him. She raised her voice one last time. To every planet listening, to every citizen, the age of fear is over. We choose truth. We choose connection. I choose him. That moment was recorded across the galaxy. Millions of aliens watching from home wept. Soldiers laid down their weapons. On Varel, crowds chanted her name. On Earth, humans celebrated their forgotten hero. Later that night, on a quiet balcony above the stars, Jace looked out in silence. Elira stood beside him. He turned to her. I never asked for any of this. She smiled softly. Neither did I, but maybe we were meant for it. He looked at her hand and took it. What now? She looked up at the sky. Now, we rebuild a galaxy, one truth at a time. The end.